I ate cabbage and carrots like this and my belly fat and diabetes disappeared. One of the secrets to managing my diet and diabetes is to use carbohydrate replacements in my meals. Eat a lot. Instead of rice, try eating something like this once. The next day, you'll lose a lot of weight. Yes, it's delicious. This is really delicious. It's delicious. I'll tell you about a Korean patient of mine named Jin. He gained 90 kilograms and I was there. I have been living with diabetes for over 20 years since my mid-30s due to familial diabetes. How do I follow this low-calorie diabetic diet? Can you eat it deliciously? Some things are okay to eat a lot of. I will tell you step by step. Let me show you the dish I'm going to show you. Korean-style carrot and cabbage slaw. I will tell you the ingredients in front of the cabbage. Music. Before we start cooking, we need to tear the vegetables. When we peel carrots, the skin also contains many nutrients. It is also rich in vitamin A and various minerals such as beta-carotene, calcium, and zinc. It would be a waste to peel the carrots thoroughly, as they contain nutrients. So I peel them in wrinkles like dirt. If you do a lot of things like this and then the monk wipes it, you will see wrinkles running horizontally like this on this carrot. There may be some dirt or dust, so I wiped off these wrinkles a little and put the carrots in. Since you are going to eat it, wash it thoroughly and then eat it again. The parts that are a little lacking are like this. I just picked carrots like this. The second ingredient is cabbage. I'm going to teach you how to wash cabbage today, and I'll make the decision for you. Some people wash cabbage all over. Some people say that because there are pesticides, you have to wash them all off, and others say that cabbage leaves should be washed off after they have dried. Because it grows like a flower bud inside, the inside cannot be entered, so you only need to wash the outside. There is a pesticide, but it doesn't mean that there are layers of pesticide inside because it goes in from the outside later. But because it grows from roots and is all in the ground, you can see that there is still dirt and mess on the root part. Dust, dirt, fine dust, and even bacteria can all enter the space because it is close to the ground. Of course, when washing, you should discard the outer shell and not tear it all off, but just remove the parts that have come off like this. Let's do some training with the sun. I'm going to soak the cabbage for 5 minutes, but it keeps floating, so I'm going to press it down with something heavy like this. Just leave it for 5 minutes and then shake it in water and use it. After 5 minutes, you will have soaked it in water and it will be a little wet. I have to wash it. I'm going to pickle it anyway. I think I washed the cabbage well. I washed each one. If you do that, all the good ingredients inside the cabbage will melt away, and you only need to peel off 2 layers of skin and not wash it at all. There are cases where problems arise in the US, but they don't arise in our country. Oh, I think it would be good to just do this. Okay, finally, I'm slicing the carrots like this. When I put it in front of the carrot slices should be a little long to make it taste good. When you use a knife, you have to be careful at the very end. You have to be really careful. You have to cut hard with your own strength. If you push it, you have to go to the emergency room right away. One more thing. Sleep like this. 2 carrots. I'm done cutting. I've done everything else here, and this much is a lot, but this is if you hold your breath again, it will get smaller. Then, next time, I will cut the cabbage into thin strips. The cabbage is also thinly sliced. You can do this with a cleaver, but if you are not confident, you can do it with a cleaver. Here are the thinly sliced cabbage slices. we use them for tonkatsu. Then, to make them crunchy, let's soak them in cold water for a bit, but since we're going to pickle them, we're not going to put them in cold water. We're going to put them in right away with the carrots. So the rest of the needles, there are so many of them. Okay, I've cut all the carrots and cabbage like this. Okay, now do this. I'm going to pickle it, but this is salt. How much salt do I put in? I put it in 300 g of carrots. It's a small teaspoon, or 3 g, but we used 600 g of carrots and half a head of cabbage. So 3 g is 4 times that, which is 12 g. Add a little bit with a spoon. 12 g, put it here and sprinkle it here and there. This amount is just right. Then, take it and pour it. Without adding any ingredients, mix well and leave it for 20 minutes. I'll see you in 20 minutes. I'm out of breath. We originally made this leaf. You will probably be surprised when you see this. The carrots and cabbage that were once fresh have become watery after only adding this much salt in 20 minutes. If you look at what comes out, this much comes out. I put in a very small amount of salt, so this broth it's not salty, so various minerals and vitamins are dissolved here, but if you throw it away, it's too much. It's a pity, so don't throw it away. I'm going to make it now, and I'm going to put it in little by little at first. Since it's home, try it and then add a little more. It's safer and better for us. Next is sugar. This is sugar. Stevia before all, stevia 0-calorie stevia yogurt is big since 2 spoons are this much, 2 spoons are not too much. If you don't have lemon juice, which is 1 spoon of lemon juice, you can use vinegar. Okay, add a spoonful of vinegar and yogurt. This is what we squeeze from the mustard tube. Yes, you can squeeze it all out and it can be spicy, so let's say we put in only half a spoonful, or a third of a spoonful. Sesame oil is important. Add 3 spoons of sesame oil like this and finally add pepper. This is a lot of quantity, so I'm not going to put it all in, and lastly, since we're eating Oriental food, I'm not going to put in a large clove of garlic. It's really because the garlic flavor is so strong that it's so Oriental, and now it's really mixing it up. I'll mix it up sometimes. Anyway, I'm going to use broth, but since this has to be done, it'll come out really a lot. Okay. I hold this and squeeze it like this, and it's very delicious even if you eat just this. That's why I'm going to put it in a bottle later. When pickling, let's put this in as well. Okay, if everything is mixed like this, I'll put it in a clean bowl. I put it in and tasted it. It's really delicious. I think. If you add a little more salt or vinegar, some people might not like it. I like the carrots I made. If you save it and it's a little weak, you can leave it for a little longer. I don't put anything in it, so I'll measure it. I'll put in just this much more of the mustard that I took out later. You'll know when you eat it. It was so delicious. I didn't know la fée could be this delicious. You'll say, oh, I'm really confident. I prepared 3 bottles like this. These are for preservation. You can think of it as the same as when we make pickles. Put them in the bottles. If you can't do it well, I'll do it by hand. Put it in a bottle, tighten it, and seal it to remove the air. I packed all 3 bottles like this so that none of them would go in, but I told you earlier that I wasn't throwing these away. Because it was a pity, I put it in like this and it went into the bottle perfectly. The carrot slaw is complete. If you close the lid and leave it outside for half a day and then put it in the refrigerator, it will stay cool for 2 weeks and it will be very delicious. It's delicious even if you just eat the carrot slaw that's made like this. You can also eat it as a side dish. And just like that you can eat it on top of bread, but I will tell you how to eat it more deliciously. The more you eat it, the more delicious it becomes. An application of carrot cabbage slaw that can help you lose more weight is sandwiches. Sandwiches are not bread. Since it's bread, let's eat some. But this whole wheat bread is low in calories and doesn't cause blood sugar spikes. It's famous for making you wake up. You can't not eat bread for the rest of your life, so when you want to eat it, you can eat this in various ways without any worries. If you put in things and take only the nutrients and taste, you will feel like you are eating bread. First, make a sandwich. In order to do this, you need to put a glass of wrap on the bottom. This wrap is a special wrap that sticks well, but regular wraps are also good. And then we have a legacy, right? We use greaseproof paper from a sandwich shop and tape it down like this. You can just put a whole wheat bread on it and put 1 or 2 slices of lettuce on it. You can also use lettuce, but if you use lettuce, it's too thick and a little hard and then the eggs are healthy, so I put 2 eggs in it. I'm going to lay a dog. Then tomatoes are also healthy food. Now I've put everything down. Now it would be good to put bacon butter in here. Instead of bacon, check out this sandwich I put in carrot lead. There is a rule when doing it. Put in as much as you can and add some ketchup or something to season it. Okay, I think ketchup has a bit of calories, so I'll just add a little bit of salt. I'll put it in a little bit. Now it's done. Close the lid and press it down a little bit. Just press it down a little bit. Just wrap it up. When you do it on the other side, you have to pull it a little bit and support the back here. Do the back and press it a little bit. There are 3 places on the body that are caught or pressed, and then here, like this. If you do this, our sandwich is already complete. If you are doing it for the first time, it might be difficult, so do it one more time. It's better to do the second one, it's much easier. Put it in the middle and then cover it. Pull this a little bit, press this side behind, then pull this here, and pull it like this, and then you get a carrot rafie. The sandwich is done. Just cut it down the middle. Cut it down the middle like this and voila. Cut it with a needle. It's carrots. A sandwich comes out in front of the cabbage and it would be delicious. Let's make a salad first. We can make a salad by putting anything in it. It would look pretty if we put it under lettuce. It would be good to put the lettuce in like this and actually tear it and put it like this, but because of the shape, I didn't tear it today. We're going to add a lot of the latte we made here. I think the calories in these vegetables are 0. Rather, I think it is a minus because eating this vegetable consumes calories. I'll put it in. It's good to eat it like this. I brought chicken breast salad. Boiled chicken breast. Put this much chicken breast in it. Next, I'm going to eat everything, so I'm bored, so I'll just throw in a little bit of green onion on top. Let's do it. People in other countries like soup more than foreign countries, so I don't throw away this soup, but put it here. Because the front will now feel moist, I think I should add some sauce to the salad. Then I will make an oriental salad. To make it, 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, half a tablespoon of soy sauce, and 1.5 tablespoons of something like allulose. Just put in that much, add the pepper, and mix it up a bit. Then sprinkle it on. It's simple to make, but it's really delicious. So, this is how you make cabbage, carrot, and chicken breast salad. Here's the recipe I made for the calorie-free flavor, carrots with chicken breast. Let's take a taste of the cabbage. I'll eat it like this. I'll try it. It's delicious. This is really delicious. I'm on a diet and have diabetes. One of the secrets to managing it is to eat a lot of carbohydrate substitutes as meals. Eat something like this once instead of rice. Look, the next day, you've lost a lot of weight. Even if you eat a lot, you have to endure it when you have to. Instead of rice, we eat this. You can eat a lot. No one can eat that much carrots because they are toxic. Tomato egg tofu fried rice to reduce inflammation and strengthen the entrance. Music, eat only tofu and tomatoes, no carbohydrates, very high in protein and nutrients. It only contains lycopene, which is a yellow component, but it is also an antioxidant that is essential for all people. You can say that it is a necessary nutritious diet. If you eat like this, you will get 3,000 calories. Music, yes, it's really delicious. The dish I'm introducing this time is tomato and egg fried rice. A dish of tomato and egg fried rice is a breakfast dish in China. It's famous for its cooking. It's a very healthy dish. How delicious would it be if you made fried rice with those tomatoes and eggs? But why don't we do that again? There is no way, so I will put tofu instead of rice. It is nutritious and very low in calories. And on top of that, I'll add another surprising egg dish. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Let's start. First, we need to mash the tofu. I put it on a kitchen towel like this. I put it up. There's a lot of water inside the tofu. I stir-fried it and made it almost like real rice. So I'm going to drain a little more moisture. You can mash the tofu like this, rather than the noodles, but it's been like this since long ago. If you cut it like this and make it funny with a knife, it will get crushed. Of course not. You can cut it and push it like this from here. So, you can do it like this, like this, like this. A little more. If you do it like this here, you can remove more moisture. Because even though I drained the water earlier, it came out again like this. Now drain the water. So, I'm going to squeeze out enough water from the tofu. But, to evaporate the moisture from the tofu, I'm going to fry it in a pan again. I'm afraid of power turning on and the tofu sounds good. The goal is to have the same texture as rice. I like it a little better coated. You can add a little oil, but I don't like to add oil. That's the goal, so we're going to do it without oil, so we're going to do it in a slightly good coating pan like this, and it's going to smoke. Look, Kim Soo-young flies like this. 2 to 3 minutes is enough. If you stir-fry it, you should be able to see that it doesn't burn, but there's still steam rising like this. It's not smoke, so there's not enough moisture. They're flying. When they dry, they become fluffy and resemble rice. You can eat them instead of rice. So, please invest just 3 minutes please. Now I've fried it a lot. I fried it like this, and if you look at it, it looks like rice grains. No, it's a bit more rice-like than the fluffy tofu I had earlier. You can fry it more. I think I'll eat this much because I'm so hungry after stir-frying that I'll end up eating a lot. Now I'm going to turn off the heat and set aside the rice I made with tofu. I like to eat seaweed soup with this. If you do this 10 times, it will be 3000C like that. It's a traditional method in China. But first, beat an egg and mix it evenly. If you mix it, it will be evenly coated. I mixed 1 egg and tofu like this, and the finished product looks like this. It looks a bit like rice. No, It's like porridge. Then I'm going to fry it again. If I do this, it'll burn a little because of the egg, so I'll add a lot of oil. I wish I could pour it, but if I spray it, it'll only do a little bit. Oh, spray it like this. No, spray it like this 10 times. Even if you do it, it won't be enough. The fire should be a little high. So, put this in. Oh, I know, I'm doing this to get rid of this. I did a good job of coating the wig and then I took it off. It was much more detailed. It falls and the colors are also different. From now on, this is our meal. We named it fried tofu rice. I added eggs, so this is golden tofu fried rice. Let's keep it for a while. Now we're going to slice the tomatoes. Chop the tomatoes into small pieces. You can think of it as cutting it into about 1 centimeter pieces. I will cut it into cubes like this. In some cases, when cooking tomatoes, we peel them. Peeling the tomato skin improves the texture. I don't peel tomatoes because lycopene is found mostly in the skin. It contains more than 2.5 times more, and since lycopene is fat-soluble, you can get all the lycopene from these tomatoes. Stir-fry to absorb and don't remove the skin. Then just chop it like this. Now it's almost done. Step 1. Next, we're going to add a little bit of oil because we need to make some scallion oil to make fried rice. Doesn't it work? So, I put the white part that I prepared earlier in first. If you take a look at the oil scent of this green onion, it will become slightly transparent. I thought, this is how we should make authentic fried rice. So I made the golden tofu fried rice that I made earlier. Put it in and stir-fry it, then season it, add a little salt and stir-fry it with rice. It would be a shame if oyster sauce was missing. Look at the oyster sauce. Just put in this much. I'm going to fry the tomatoes too. So fry them with the skin slightly touching the oil. You have to give it to increase the lycopene. It increases by about 2.5 times. So, you have to fry it like this. I'll turn the heat up a little bit and do it like this for the last time. When it's stir-fried, add the green part of the green onion that was cut into thin strips, so that it has flavor and color. Isn't it pretty? This is how you make tomato egg golden stir-fried tofu rice. Just like this. Even if you eat it, you lose more weight than if you ate rice, and then the thing that doesn't have calories is that our metabolic rate is much higher. That's why they say you lose weight after eating it. So it's really good. This is food, it must be delicious. It is delicious as expected. But it is delicious even if you just eat it, but it is more delicious and fun to make it. For that, I'll give you one egg tip. It's hard, but if you keep doing it, you'll be able to do it someday. So, I beat 3 eggs in advance, lightly season them, and no longer add milk or anything like that. So, I put in a little bit of oil because I can't use it all later. When the temperature has reached a certain level, add all 3 eggs. It's a good temperature. While it's cooking, make golden tofu rice like this, just like in a Chinese restaurant. I'm going to spill it. I'm going to make golden tofu rice like this and put it here. I'm going to cover the egg. When the egg seems to be cooked a little, start like this from one side. Come and hold it in the middle and shake it slightly and hold it and bring it here. This is how you turn it. This is how you do it. It should have been a little less cooked than this, but it's still the same here. If you cover it like this, the tornado rice bowl is complete. It's tomato egg tofu fried rice. The nickname I gave it is tomato egg tofu golden. It's fried rice. On the outside, there's a whole egg, and then inside, it looks like it has carbs in it, but it doesn't. It just has tofu and tomatoes. So it's like this. If you eat it, you will definitely lose calories. I will try this delicious and healthy food once. Let's try eating it. You can just eat it by itself, but inside, it's like this. Let's try it out. Like this. It must be delicious. It's really delicious. If you put a little ketchup, you can close your eyes and eat it. Oh, omelet rice. Oh, the egg is also delicious. Oh, rice. It's so delicious that you'll say you made a mistake. Who would think this is tofu? Why is it so important? Are you doing it? Yes, we are working hard to eat instead of rice and live long. It is not difficult. Today. In fact, all of the healthy foods you make are necessary. Lycopene contains antioxidants and even has anti-cancer properties. Antioxidant components are essential for young women and middle-aged women as well. Also, middle-aged men with potbelly need them when dieting. No, it's a big deal because you're in the pre-diabetic stage. So, eat it and you can absorb all the effects even when you get older. It can be said to be a nutritious food that is essential for all people. It is low in calories and high in protein. It is a very good food with high nutrients. Don't just pass it by and try it once. It would be really good. It's the same that you won't do just once, like me, to overcome diabetes. The oyster mushrooms I ate to lose 20 kilograms. The secret to losing weight even if you eat a lot. Those who are trying to keep eating and those who want a diet will definitely lose weight. That's what I did. I lost 20 kilograms. No matter how much I eat, it doesn't feel burdensome, and it has anti-cancer effects, right? They say that even if you eat it, you lose weight. The more you eat, the more you lose weight. With the enoki mushroom bottom steak, it's done. Oh my, the meat tastes really good. After finishing, this food is one of the best ingredients I ate while overcoming diabetes. One is, as you can see, oyster mushrooms. Oyster mushrooms taste like meat, and if you cook them well, you can eat as much as you want. They say it is not burdensome and has anti-cancer effects. I brought out 2 of these oyster mushrooms. Make a steak with the bottom and make it like a sirloin steak. The goal is to make oyster mushroom stem steak. Here is the stem part. No matter how much we want to eat the stump, we can't do it here. We have to cut it a little because the tree and the soil are stuck here. If you want to throw it away and still cut it as much as possible, about 3 centimeters is good. I think some people do this much, but this much is good. This is the perfect thickness for a steak that is easy to eat. 1 is actually enough, but I'll do 2. Here, 2, about 3 centimeters. I'll be making all the oyster mushrooms later. Oyster mushrooms without flour. I love it so much. I'll make a steak with 2 of the shiitake mushroom stems. I think it'll taste similar to steak. Really? It's similar. I'll tell you the source too. First, put it here and turn on the fire. If you put in oil, just a little bit of oil and it absorbs a lot of oil. So I'm just going to do the outer layer to the extent that it won't absorb anything anyway, and I won't do the rest. I'm going to use it, so when the temperature gets to a certain level, I'll put in the oyster mushrooms. Let's put it here. Let's put the oyster mushrooms here. Next, when we go to the form, there are things like this, like garlic, this, and asparagus. I write well, but I like carrots and zucchinis. I'm a bit country-like. So, we use a lot of our country's ingredients. I washed these shiitake mushrooms. There is a saying that we don't need to wash all kinds of mushrooms, but they still have dust on the outside, and they are best removed from the soil. If you do it well, just wash it gently in water. Remove the plastic wrap from the oyster mushrooms and shake them in water like this to remove all the moisture. Okay, I washed the bottom well with water because I was going to use the bottom too. But you shouldn't wash the oyster mushrooms before eating them. That's why many people don't wash before eating. If you look at the fact that no one has been affected yet, it's not that big of a deal. But it's good to wash it in slightly running water. You turn it over. You turn it over like this. You see, really. If you eat deliciously without thinking about calories, you will add oil, but if you add oil, it goes on endlessly, so I'll just focus on getting used to it. When the moment of transparency comes before and after, now that we've got it cooked, let's make a sauce to use on the steak. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Then I'm going to add a little bit of soy sauce. I'll squeeze this out later. Then I'll add stevia. Add 1 spoonful and then add half a spoonful of garlic sauce. If you put it all in, it's salty. Why don't you put in only half a spoon? Okay, while I'm making it like this, I'll flip it over again. Oh, it's starting to ripen a bit now. If the middle is a bit wet, anyway I eat enoki mushrooms raw and lightly cook them, so I don't eat the garnish on the side. You can do it. You can just put in 1 or 2 cloves of garlic, or you can put in nothing. But I'm adding it because I'm bored. It's between medium and high heat, so it's about ready to wear. These sauces I made earlier, it may seem like a little bit, but vegetables release moisture little by little as they cook. So this much is enough. It's good to turn it over frequently. You can also pour the broth on top like this. The same goes for meat and this too. The reason I put this garnish in from the beginning is because I think the vegetables will cook quickly. These hard vegetables are really not cooked. It doesn't matter if they're not cooked, but okay, this is done. Okay, that fire. Turn off the oyster mushroom stem steak. It's done. There's no meat here. I went in and didn't eat a single carb. I put the plate aside and ate. This is a steak that has been marinated like this. This steak is very shiny. Don't you ever get bored eating fog steak? The more you eat the oyster mushroom bottom steak, the more you lose weight even if you don't eat it. It's done. The second mushroom. Fish is a pancake made with oyster mushrooms and eggs that will make you lose weight just by eating it. This time, I use only this much oil and no flour. I make oyster mushroom pancakes with eggs only. I am confident that if you try it, it will be really delicious and taste like meat. Let's get started. Let's prepare the ingredients. This pepper needs a firm part. The thickness is about 2 centimeters. I will cut a few pieces in that length. The parts that are not very thick will be cut off. I'm not going to throw it away, I'm going to save it and make stew with it later. So I'm going to do this. As those who have tried it know, red peppers have much more texture than green peppers. It's tough and doesn't cut well. Then, there are seeds inside the peppers. I pick out the seeds with my chopsticks. I'm going to take it out and empty the container like this. There is a reason for doing it that way. It may seem like it takes some time at first, but you will soon get used to it. Take them out right away. It doesn't matter if there are 1 or 2 seeds left. The oyster mushrooms don't all jump one by one. Even if you don't, leave it like this and then add the pepper I removed the seeds from earlier. It's putting mushrooms in it. Oh, you might say, don't play with food. But as I said before, we will dip it in soy sauce when we eat it anyway. Oh, you put in some chili peppers, so I'm going to do it like this. If you put it in like this, it will look like this. How pretty! This is fun to do, and the results are pretty when you put them together. I think it would be good to do it with kids. I think that these days, kids only look at their smartphones, but if you do it with your kids during the holidays or something like that, what happens? First of all, kids try to eat at least what they made. It's a great opportunity to feed children who hate wearing it, and I always say this, but fill your stomach with the foods I've told you over and over again. This is what you eat instead of rice. If you eat it instead of rice, you will lose weight. I will continue to eat them one by one from now on. Here are the ingredients to make oyster mushroom egg pancakes. It looks great. It's pretty, so I'm going to put it on now. The way to make this really delicious is to first mix it with flour. Or, coat it with the flour, shake off the flour, and then dip it in egg water. Then, coat the outside with breadcrumbs like this and place the breadcrumbs in boiling oil at 150 degrees. It's really delicious if you put it in a pot and fry it. How many calories will there be? Just think about that. I will make a pancake that is almost as delicious and satisfying as the one without flour, except that it is crispy. I never strain the egg dish. When I strained it, I made steamed eggs with tea and rice. I only filter it at that time, but I don't filter it this time. It's a shame. So I put 3 eggs and a little salt in the rest. I didn't put anything in. I'm ready to go. I'll start right away. I'll spray it to let the oil settle. Just this much, okay. I know how to put it in neatly. The reason I don't put it in neatly is because since you don't have to flip it over, fry it, or use oil, it's evenly distributed. First, cook it lightly, just lightly so that it is cooked. I'm going to flip it over only once, but since I'm going to put eggs in it anyway, it's going to cook at that time. Since the backside is a little bit cooked, I choose to lightly fry it like this first. So from here, you can do it neatly, but you have to make a lot of them and buy them again, and from now on, let's go back and after adjusting the heat. Okay, if you used blue, the other side is also blue, so you can do it like this, but it's all the same anyway. I'll do it like this by color since it's right. If you made it all, I made it earlier. I'm going to add the egg water that was left out. It's important to pour the egg mixture evenly. If you do this, you just have to wait for it to cook, but one of the most important things to do before is to cook it over low heat. If you cook it on high heat, the eggs will bubble and then turn brown, so you need to cook it on low heat for a pretty color. Since it comes out, I will also do it on low heat. It would be good to flip it over like this when it is cooked to a certain extent, but then one side the shape doesn't come out well, so instead of oil, I put the lid on to cook with steam. There has to be someone who will cover it. This person is not a long time. If this person is there, we can eat now. Yes, if it looks like this, it's fully cooked. Actually, we put the yogurt on a plate. You can do this by placing it on a plate, then flipping it over and cooking it again, but that would be a waste of time. It's just that the taste is bad. The eggs are delicious when they're slightly soft-boiled. So I'm adding it here for the appearance. Sprinkle some of the green onion and pine nuts that I prepared earlier, and then safely on the plate. Let's move it. So, let's do this. Flourless top egg transfer. It's done. So, this is how you make the oyster mushroom glass, oyster mushroom stem steak, and oyster mushroom egg pancake. It was a fun tasting time, but I really have high expectations for this. Those who tried my recipe. You probably know that it's true. I'll cut it up and eat it. He's a steak. We have to use a knife. I've gotten used to the introduction so well. So, the meat flavor is really amazing, but for those who like it bland, I think it might be a little salty, so if you're afraid of saltiness, reduce the amount of soy sauce and salt by half. That'll be perfect. I think it's a flour-free oyster mushroom egg pancake. I also made this with a knife. Slice it and eat it like pizza. Let's take a look. It looks really delicious with my hands. It even has peppers in it. Eat it once, I'll see. The peppers really hit the mark and it's so fun. I'm diabetic like that. To all of you who are trying to overcome diabetes by continuing to eat, I think you will do the same, but I hope you will receive help in overcoming diabetes. For those who want to lose weight, and for those who want to go on a diet, if you eat the dishes I tell you instead of rice, you will definitely lose weight. I lost 20 kilograms by doing this. Please continue making it and eating it. Chemotherapy is not a treatment that kills 100% of cancer cells. It is a treatment that allows cancer to continue to grow. If I had the environment, no matter how much anti-cancer treatment I would use, the remaining male cells would grow. I had breast cancer 5 years ago, and while undergoing chemotherapy, I changed the environment of my entire body. I solved it with diet. The World Cancer Integrated Counseling Center has published 2 books on cancer. There is no anti-cancer drug that kills 100% of cancer cells. I mean, there's a lot of misunderstanding about that part, but of course, in stage 1 and stage 2 patients, most of the cancer cells are removed through surgery. Chemotherapy and radiotherapy are used to treat any remaining invisible cancer cells. However, if the cancer is stage 3 or 4, when I went, surgery was not possible and I had to rely on chemotherapy and radiation therapy. In particular, cytotoxic anti-cancer drugs are antiproliferative agents, so they reduce it by 3 centimeters. It plays a role, but it does not completely reduce it to 0 centimeters because cytotoxic anti-cancer drugs work. There is a period of 6 to 8 months, so the cancer has shrunk by 5 centimeters or 3 centimeters. The tissue will grow again after 6 to 8 months of chemotherapy, so the survival rate of cancer patients is now the reason why it doesn't go up even after 10 or 20 years is because it suppresses the proliferation of this cancer. This is because the chemotherapy does not perform its role 100%. I had breast cancer 5 years ago, and while undergoing chemotherapy, I also had chemotherapy for my child. I discovered that my cancer was not getting smaller even though I was doing it, and I started doing it in the middle of chemotherapy. I've been sticking to the diet so far, but I can't say that it 100% prevents cancer. I don't think it will help, but I think it will help prevent at least 57% and also help with treatment. I think we need to change the environment that causes cancer. If I have an environment that continues to proliferate, no matter how much chemotherapy I use, there will be residual before men can grow up. I tell my patients the 4 things. There are 3 environments. First, acidic environment. Second, inflammatory environment. And third, hypoxic environment. The second hypothermic environment is the environment in which cancer grows well. So today what I want to tell you is to improve the acidic environment and inflammatory environment. Improving dietary therapy. Dietary therapy can help us to improve the health of our body. Create an environment that prevents cancer cells from doing well. This is the key message for today. The content is that the morning is the time when toxins are discharged and detoxified. It is good to use because the stomach and intestines are empty, so there is no burden on the stomach and intestines. Supplementing with a diet that does not include adequate protein and fiber through fruits and vegetables. It gives me energy to start my day. I actually had the surgery because I had breast cancer and changed my diet. Just because I get anti-cancer radiation doesn't mean my body becomes healthy. It only removes the visible cancer and affects the overall environment of my body. I solved the problem by changing my breakfast diet. I eat boiled eggs for breakfast. Lightly boil at least 7 kinds of vegetables including sweet potatoes and apples and grind them to eat. Eggs are rich in amino acids. It's about getting enough protein that you can't get from vegetables, and I'm the #1 organic food for cancer patients. Eat 2 eggs a day, not fried eggs, but boiled eggs. If you are tired of eating boiled eggs, eat steamed eggs or oatmeal. Egg custard. If you eat eggs in the morning through this kind of dish, then the protein you need per day is 60 kilograms. So, you need 60 g of protein, and for cancer patients, I would say protein. I look at the numbers. Normally, it's between 6 and 8, but during chemotherapy, it's 6. If it falls to the initial level, it is better to focus more on supplying the D level and usually maintain it at around 7. For sweet potatoes, it contains an anti-cancer ingredient called inulin. I'm really a sweet potato fanatic. I cool it down in pairs and eat it sparingly, saving the ones below medium size. I eat fruit sparingly. It's a vegetable diet, but you can't eat too much fruit if you're a normal person. You can eat plenty of fruit, but if you already have cancer, your neutral fat levels will rise too much and your blood sugar will rise. So I choose sweet potatoes and drastically reduce the amount of fruit. I eat 1 apple a day. We eat it sparingly and in portions. We also need to consume carbohydrates. I choose sweet potatoes or zucchinis and lightly steam them in a steamer. Almost all dishes are made in a steamer. Eggs are placed under water and boiled. You can put sweet potatoes or zucchinis on top and steam them. You can also do that with vegetables. You can steam broccoli, cabbage, and carrots on one side. Apples are really great for a simple yet healthy diet. Apples are like treasures, and they contain many good things, such as polyphenol. What I want to emphasize more is that you should eat apples with the skin on. The flesh is sweet, and the sweet ingredient makes us happy. But a significant portion of the nutrients are in the peel, which is the ingredient called oxalic acid. This is a very powerful anti-cancer agent, and the fruits rich in this acid are figs, oranges and apples. Oxalic acid is a powerful antioxidant that prevents cell oxidation and acts as an anti-inflammatory. Another effect is that our body has apoptosis, which is a function that orders diseased cells to die. There is a function, but now cancer patients have this apoptosis function turned off. Or damaged or so. This oxalic acid component promotes apoptosis. So we can quickly eliminate potential cancer cells in our body. We have to give it to them. So, the anti-cancer and anti-inflammatory effect that we have in our body is the seat of the ulcage. That's where it is. There is seaweed soup in the apple peel. It is not a soup that is only eaten on birthdays. It is also eaten by mothers who are pregnant. It's not a soup to eat. Seaweed soup is so rich in iodine. That iodine it acts as a natural detoxifier for our body. If you have a lack of iodine in your body, what happens to your body? You know, heavy metals build up, so if you examine the hair of cancer patients, you'll find arsenic. These heavy metals are detected in higher amounts than normal in zinc-containing water. Just eat seaweed soup often and eat a lot of seaweed soup while receiving cancer treatment. It has a very good detoxification ability. If I may give you a tip, it is for breast cancer patients who have hormones. Patients with benign breast cancer are more likely to have thyroid nodules, which are the two most common diseases. Cancer or problems with the ovaries occur sequentially. What I found was that iodine, the cause was deficiency, so it is important to detoxify the toxins of environmental hormones. Everyone, the fucoidan in the seaweed soup has a strong anti-cancer effect. So, please take a lot of it. However, if the disease has progressed too much, please consult a pharmacist for urinary therapy. I hope you guys enjoy it and have fun together. Vegetables are really popular these days in the morning. I have one more tip for you. If you drink only the juice, it is low in salt, so the salt content in your body is low. Many cancer patients also think that they should eat less salt as a health common sense. The salinity of a normal person is 0.9, but the salinity of a cancer patient is also in a sick state. If you check the salinity, unfortunately, cancer patients have a low level of 0.4. I think a lot of people think that saltiness is good, so I eat it without paying much attention to the salt content. It's at 0.4, so some cancer patients are at 0. If the salinity is like this, all the cells are like this. Instead of healthy cells, they become shrunken and the body is ruined. That's why I always use bamboo salt in the morning. In the morning, I use bamboo salt. It has anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory and 70 minerals, so your liver occasionally, you can enjoy Korean food, but now season it with sea salt or bamboo salt. You should not eat salty foods like seasoned salt, but rather foods rich in minerals. You should season it appropriately with natural salt. It shouldn't be too salty, but it shouldn't be too salty. It's not even low salt, so I just lightly steam it all in juice and add salt and eat eggs. Sometimes, I dip it in bamboo salt and eat it, so I can fill in the salt that I lack in the morning. I have to give it to my patients to lighten the mood a little. I'll show you a picture from my late 30s. If you're too surprised, cover your mouth. Oh my goodness, that's a picture of me in my 30s. I'm a little older than I am now in my 50s. I was so fat that it was visible. I'm seriously fat. I'm still not really slim. I had gained more than 10 kilograms from my current weight, so I lost weight naturally while following this diet. I eat lunch and dinner a little freely. For lunch, I used to pack a lunch and take it with me, but these days, I don't. We eat at a restaurant. We eat bibimbap and doenjang jjigae. So, we have lunch like that. I eat Korean food, which includes carbohydrates and various side dishes, for dinner. Come again and eat lightly again. That way, after middle age, you will mainly lose belly fat. To suppress this, if there are no female hormones, the body cries out for female hormones, so in the fat a lot of female hormones are produced, so the belly fat swells up mainly. The body is trying to survive. I want to gain belly fat and get estrogen, and I don't have hormone-positive breast cancer. That's why I have to limit estrogen to prevent cancer recurrence, so I'm continuing this diet. My skin has improved and I have a brighter tone. But some of the patients who come to me are men, and I give them this kind of guidance. We easily say that it is all juice, but if you take this for just 3 months, your complexion will change. Bright tone, so it's usually a patient with dark tones, but the bright tone and your face will glow a little. Yes, it is high in fat, then a diet high in caffeine, flour, and fructose. What kind of high-fat diet is that? Fry some bacon, have a drink, and then toast it. If you fry it in butter or oil and eat it like this, you will get the amount you need in the morning. There's no substance necessary for detoxification. Then this flour can be called a silent bacteria. Yes, wheat flour contains gluten, which increases beneficial bacteria in the intestines. In the morning, I eat something like this: bacon, coffee, and then some juice with a lot of fructose. If you add all of these, what happens to our body? It becomes an acidic environment. It creates an environment that causes inflammation, but I can say with confidence that I have been on this diet for almost 10 years. It's okay once or twice, but if this accumulates over 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, it is a condition that can cause illness. So when I got breast cancer, you can find out the compatibility by looking at the pH of urine. I was 5 for most of them. Now, the patient's pH level is 5. The normal pH level is 17.4. Yes, it should be neutral to slightly alkaline. That's why I keep emphasizing overeating vegetables. It doesn't become too acidic. There is. You have to get over it quickly. That way, you can prevent the disease called cancer and prevent it from coming. The environment is so high in fat in the morning, so milk and coffee with fructose. If you eat a lot of drinks and bread with wheat flour, it can be said to be a dangerous diet. I really don't recommend drinking milk after middle age. There is milk in it. It contains a growth factor called insulin growth factor 1. Of course, studying abroad children in their growth period need to consume some milk for growth, but we are already adults. There is no need for ideal growth, so what happens when we just drink milk? What I know is that cancer cells grow infinitely. It disappears through cell death, but when there are more cancer cells than our body can remove, it causes cancer. It can promote it. And the reason I suggest milk is that it acidifies the body. It's food. So our body wants alkaline. In order to maintain neutrality, it draws calcium from bones and reduces acidity in the body. It is now that osteoporosis symptoms start to appear in the bones. It can progress rapidly after middle age. Breast cancer patients in particular are given anti-cancer drugs that block estrogen. Breast cancer patients should not drink milk because it can cause osteoporosis to progress more rapidly and naturally. If you are concerned about cancer or are currently battling it, increase the amount of vegetables in your diet. I don't use juice because it increases the fiber content of the dishwashing liquid. Where's our disabled beneficial bacteria food? Right in the food system, 80% of our body's immunity is being generated in the intestines, so one meal in the morning provides the necessary amount of fiber for the day. We'll put everything in and you can eat your lunch and dinner a little more freely. Yes, a patient with stage 1 lung cancer came to me. This person only needs to take a test once every 3 months. But he came with brain metastasis. I thought I didn't have any cancer, but I didn't follow any of the foods I forbade and just ate 3 babies. You can eat whatever you want. If you do this, you will recover in 3 months. It's really a bit of a diary patient, but it's a stage 4. The period is too fast when you don't adjust the timing. You can't be free from anything by eating anything. No, at first, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I met the doctor again and he said, "It's breast cancer." When you said that, I was really so desperate because I felt a lump in my chest, but I couldn't believe it. I had a feeling that it wouldn't work out, so I went with a very light heart, but I think the teacher expected it. When I heard the word cancer, tears truly started to fall. It felt like the sky was collapsing. The worst diagnosis was terminal cancer. They completely removed the armpit area by digging it up. There were really surgical scars like this. The surgical area was also very wide. There was a process of putting in artificial implants because of breast augmentation surgery, but this was the easiest. The surgery was the easiest, and the hardest part was there is chemotherapy. I used 2 types of chemotherapy. The chemotherapy drug called C that I used in the first 3 months was the most toxic. It kills cells that grow quickly, so hair grows quickly, and the oral mucosa and gastric mucosa grow quickly. It kills them because they grow. Not only cancer cells, but I also got severe secondary stomatitis. It's not like the small, open canker sore you think of, but it's a huge sore on the tongue or the base of the tongue, and it's so painful. So I couldn't eat anything, so I went to the immigration office and asked them to build me something so I could eat food. I went to the teacher again because it happened again, and he said that it doesn't happen this often and that it only happens once. I think that was the most difficult time. When I started chemotherapy without any preparation for the first, second, and third rounds, I was hit with a bomb. I couldn't eat as I was feeling sick and had no strength, so I started the diet after the third round. The causes of cancer in people are different. In my case, I am obese. My eating habits were such that I rarely ate fresh vegetables, and I lived in China for a very long time. Having lived in China for over 10 years, the Chinese people always cook stir-fried dishes. I just learned that naturally. It's the same. Our country's edible oil container is about this big. China's is about this big. In the past, how many bottles of this size were used in a year? It's the same. I unconditionally pull out everything. So, like the dish I made before, I stir-fried all the vegetables with cooking oil. Because I ate it, so I ate a lot of oxidized and rancid oil, which was bad for my body. It creates an inflammatory environment. That's why I don't eat red meat. You ask me so many questions, but I think the iron in red meat is there are many holy relics like ham. Normal people need them so much during their growth period. If you are a fraudulent patient with cancer or one that cannot be removed with surgery, the cancer is still growing. I'm preparing to do well and my growth is out of control, but at times like this, I get this red. We put ham family ingredients into our bodies. The first thing that cancer eats is food for cancer. You can see that iron promotes the growth and metastasis of cancer cells. That's why I can't eat it. It's okay on the top, but the meat is in the pot. Fatty acids are a bit of a problem, but it is okay for young people to eat meat. However, after middle age, our cells, if you think about it, there is a cell membrane, right? The cell membrane is made of a layer of cholesterol fat. You can think of the cell membrane as our brain. Signals are transmitted here, oxygen is supplied, nutrients are delivered, and various other things are carried out between cells. The signal comes from the cell membrane. But when we eat saturated fatty acids and the cooking oils we eat a lot, they are peroxidized. When a lot of trans fat accumulates in the body, the person becomes stupid. So the brain becomes stupid. The cell membrane, however, is hardened by saturated fat, which inhibits the fluidity of the cell membrane. You have to see that the cell membrane should be able to float like this, but it is completely solidified. That is why saturated fat causes disease. If you have it, please suggest some ways to consume protein. There are so many good alternative foods. First, eggs are so readily available. Second, fish is so delicious. It's rich in calcium. Salmon, mackerel, and other types are the third. Broccoli, kale, and then nuts, these are also very rich in protein and calcium minerals. It's rich in one more food that I want to emphasize is beans. I am a patient with hormone-positive breast cancer and also a middle-aged woman before and after menopause. I strongly recommend that you drink soy milk. Soy milk contains an anti-cancer ingredient called genistein. It is very rich in estrogen, so it prevents the recurrence of breast cancer caused by excessive estrogen in patients with hormone-positive breast cancer. In the past, there was incorrect information that soybeans should not be eaten because they contain components similar to female hormones. Now, research has shown that the receptor that causes breast cancer is estrogen. AlphaGo, the receptor that suppresses breast cancer, is estrogen beta. This beta it needs to be activated to suppress the growth and metastasis of cancer. That's why I recommend pan soy milk. To be honest, there are too many additives and the raw soybeans may be GMO soybeans. That's why imported American soybeans are not allowed. I bought 2 organic soybeans and just washed and boiled about 30 soybeans in soy milk. Just put it in. After washing up and doing something, a glass of soy milk is made. A glass of soy milk in the morning. From now on, fall. Drinking a glass of warm soy milk in the winter will raise your body temperature significantly and provide you with daily protein, and you can get most of your daily energy in half. You can consume the above protein in the morning. Flour reduces inflammation. It causes what can be called a truly silent germ, and I eat a lot of bread. There is a bread. There is flour in that bread. There is sugar in that bread. There is oil in that bread. There is milk in that bread. I also used to. I thought about it and went and had one now. Then I got spots on my face like this. I shouldn't have eaten it again. I ate things that would be good, so you guys don't see inflammation, so you don't know. It also occurs in internal organs. Invisible inflammation occurs. Cooking oil is oil. It's made by heating oil. Cooking oil is the oil we use. It contains omega-3 and 6. You can see that there are 9. This cell membrane has a balance of omega-369 almost 1:1. It should be balanced at around 2:1, but modern people consume too much omega-6. If Koreans consume 1:4, if you have a medical condition or cancer, you may need to increase your intake of 150 omega-6 or 9. Are you tall? Yes, I think it should be reduced. So, cooking oil is oxidized oil. You can see, I recommend this very fresh seed omega to you. When using sesame oil, first of all, do not use roasted sesame oil. When using raw sesame oil in food, just use it. Like salad oil, so if you're healthy, you can use slightly heated edible oils like this. You can use oil, but if you have a disease, inflammation, or cancer, you should use oil like salad oil. Sugar also causes inflammation in our body. It is more harmful to cancer cells than normal cells. There are 6 to 8 times more glucose transporters in the bowel, so you're just getting a lot of sugar or glucose. If you eat it, it goes to cancer cells. That makes it easier to understand. Dairy products are also good for insulin. Growth factor contains insulin-like growth factors, which in turn cause normal cells to grow. It is not that cancer cells grow rapidly. I have a patient with stage 1 lung cancer. Stage 1 is about 1 centimeter. You have abstained, so you don't need to have radiation exposure. But this person only needs to take a picture once every 3 months, but the first one it was fine for 3 months, but in the second 3 months, brain metastasis occurred. There was no cancer at all. I thought about it, but what happened was that I got a brain metastasis after 3 months. It was a 1 centimeter partial resection. It wasn't just the cancer cells that were present in the area, but there were also very tiny cancer cells floating around. But you don't follow any of the foods that I forbid, such as milk. You ate all the 3 o'clock chicks you wanted, and you even ate meat without any restrictions. If you drink milk and eat snacks like this, metastasis will occur in 3 months. This is really something I'm trying to scare you with. It's not a story, but really, the period from when a patient becomes stage 4 to when they have a diary is not adjusted. It's too fast when it's not that fast. That's why I keep coming out on YouTube and emphasizing timing so much. Anything. You can be free from everything by eating it. No, I looked at the detailed page of the juice product like this, and I was so surprised by ABC. There is juice, and it says organic on it, but it is organic, but the country of origin is there are foreign countries, so the price is so cheap. Organic products cannot be this price, so they use that concentrate. But some products have something called sucralose in the back. You take ABC or something like that to be healthy, right? You shouldn't choose just by looking at the title, but you should definitely check the ingredient list. Sucralose is 200 times more nutritious than sugar. It's 600 times different. So I just drank some ABC juice and it's so sweet. I feel sick because of the sweetener, and this is fake ABC juice with artificial sweeteners in it. There were so many that I tried all the juices and juices that were on sale. Sucralose is a sugar that is not absorbed in the intestines. Who likes that sugar? It is in our intestines. The very malicious harmful bacteria that exist love it so much that the harmful bacteria spreads so conveniently. The juices we drink and the vanilla lattes with high fructose content in our cafes are pumped in large quantities. If you consume such sweet drinks, your intestines will gradually become worse. When your intestines become worse, your immunity will be weakened. If you fall, it's a shortcut to disease. Well, in my daily life, I just go to the bathroom, study, and then open the refrigerator. I started emptying out all the containers in the fridge. They were all plastic. If you leave it for a long time, environmental hormones will come out. The next more dangerous thing is what role environmental hormones play. It has a similar role as genoestrogen, so it can reduce the excess estrogen in our body. It's a condition that causes breast cancer to increase rapidly these days. It's environmental hormones in food containers. Cosmetics, perfumes, and other products play a very similar role to female hormones in our bodies. Breast cancer increases rapidly when estrogen is excessive, so I threw it all away. The containers have all been changed to stainless steel or glass containers. I now have breasts. I eat vegetables and fruits, meat, milk, dairy products, sugar, flour, and cooking oils. I have reached middle age and am now healthy. You too, please change your morning diet. If you give it to me, I think you will have a day that is a little bit more energetic than it is now. It is really surprising how much I want to live in the next 5 years. I had a big desire and aspiration. I'm in my early 50s, so I shouldn't go to heaven. So I completely changed my mind. I quit the habit of drinking latte, eating bread, and drinking soda every morning. First of all, my father has stage 4 terminal lung cancer. I've been eating it since last year and now it's I'm in good health. I recently looked into the increase in lung cancer. Health insurance. According to data released by the corporation, the number of lung cancer patients in 2021 will increase by 27% compared to 2018. It increases rapidly. When I was undergoing chemotherapy 5 years ago, I was lying on a large table. I came in after taking the chemotherapy injection leisurely, but last year my father was diagnosed with lung cancer. There are 4 non-small cell lung cancer patients. When you look at the chemotherapy, there are so many cancer patients. Hundreds of people received chemotherapy injections that day. It had to be right, so an 80-year-old man just sat on a chair and said, "So, you have to sit on a chair and take the strong chemotherapy and come back." So, it's really recent. I have realized that the number of cancer patients has increased rapidly in the past 5 years. Dr. John has a seed and soil theory, where cancer cells are seeds and our bodies are the soil. The seeds are sown. What we can do is prevent them from sprouting. How? By changing the environment. What kind of environment can we change? We can't replace the internal organs, but we can change the food we eat every day, so when we change this food, the soil is changing. Cancer patients and potential cancer patients have a change in their bodies. It's acidified. Acidified. So how should the body change its environment to slightly alkaline? How should it change it to a dishwashing liquid? You should eat a little more vegetables and fruits than we think. Almost 300 to 1,000 per day. I just eat 500 g in one meal. It's what I need for the day. Also, cancer patients have a lot of inflammation. Remember that inflammation is a shortcut to cancer. When you choose the assembly method, you can stop, so if you have knowledge, you can prevent diseases. You can quickly regain your health, so avoid foods that cause acid inflammation. We have to get out of here. I really think that for 5 years, when I think about it, I was surprised at how strong my desire and aspiration to live was. I was in my 50s. It's the beginning, so you can't go to the sky, so I completely changed it. I gave up the habit of eating bread, eating toast, and drinking beverages, and every morning first, 7 kinds of apples, carrots, broccoli, cabbage, tomatoes, beets, and paprika. I steamed it lightly, ground it, and ate it every day until now. That's how I was last year. My skin condition is much better now than it was 2 years ago, and I eat eggs every day. And I drink tea. Instead of coffee, I carry tea with me all day long. Drink warm tea in the morning and in the evening to warm up your body. When I wake up, I eat too cold food. I eat salad vegetables. It's too cold. I eat vegetables that are slightly warm. Heat it up and drink warm green tea, black tea, and other flavorful drinks in the morning. If you drink it instead of coffee, your body will warm up and you will have a full stomach with juice. So I chew it slowly like this. So instead of just gulping down the juice, I chew it all using my saliva. It absorbs all the fibers of the dish. When it is made with raw vegetables, the absorption rate is 17%. When it is boiled a little, it goes up by 60%, and if you grind it after cooking, 90% of the egg is absorbed. So cancer patients have a significantly reduced function of the gastric mucosa, so they have to learn when you boil, grind, and absorb it, you absorb all the nutrients without wasting anything. You drink ABC juice. If you look at the ones sold in the market now, they only have the liquid. So, the good things in the apple skin, the dish fibers in the dish are all gone with the acid. It's food for beneficial bacteria, but I feel it's such a waste. Of course, I eat it all. If your digestion is so good, you can chew it raw, but I tried that too. It's hard. Since I eat a lot, it takes a lot of time to chew and eat all 7. It also takes time. People who eat raw vegetables often have diarrhea or a stomachache. There are people, so I eat it warm and cooked. The reason we chose the 7 is that it must be easy to buy. Of course, there are vegetables with better anti-cancer properties, but they can't be found overseas. They can't be fresh. So fresh vegetables should be available all year round, and then they should have anti-cancer properties. Apples contain polyphenol, of course, but the key before posting a wine is beta-carotene from carrots. It's so good, but what has been discovered recently is that there is a component in carrots called luteolin. Cabbage broccoli sulforaphane has a great cancer stem cell suppression role. You can think of the ingredients as cancer suppressors. Of course, cabbage also has a role in protecting the gastric mucosa, but what I pay more attention to is it suppresses cancer with the ingredient sulforaphane, so all the ones I chose are cancer. If you look at the suppressor, if you only eat vegetables and fruits, there are no carbohydrates now, so what I chose was from the morning. Brown rice is so hard to digest. Brown rice is hard to digest, you guys. There's one good grain to watch out for, and that is oats. Oats are easy to absorb. Oatmeal, pressed flat like this in good shape, is very easy to find, better than imported ones. I bought oatmeal made from oats from our country at the store and made it easily. I'll show you how to make it. It only takes 2 minutes. But first, just mix a cup of oatmeal and a cup of water at night. Put it in. Soak it overnight. Then, when you wake up in the morning, add twice as much broth or water to the soaked oatmeal. Put it in and boil it. Then, when it boils to a certain extent, break 1 egg into it. When the egg is cooked, it's done. Cut it for 2 minutes. Then it's a really great breakfast. It has eggs, it has carbs, but oatmeal is so nutritious, it has as much protein as beans. There are grains that contain protein and are rich in vitamins and minerals. It also contains omega-3 fatty acids. Another very important one is beta-glucan. Beta-glucan increases white blood cells in K. Beta-glucan is a very famous ingredient that activates cells, and it is found in large quantities in oats. So, take it for 2 minutes in the morning. Cut oatmeal egg porridge and then eat it all in juice style. If you're bored, just chop the vegetables into small pieces. Put them in the cutter after cutting them. It'll take 2 minutes. Oatmeal vegetable porridge. This is a meal that has the perfect nutritional composition. Everyone, the most important thing is diet. You won't gain weight. You'll lose weight little by little. So instead of just a baking diet, eat warm foods in the fall and winter to keep your body temperature up. You need to warm it up a bit. You have to give yourself a boost in the morning, right? Since you need to get up and go to work, a warm drink like almond milk is perfect. Egg porridge. Smile vegetable porridge is an American designer food. There is a food label published by the FDA. I think the top one is garlic. Allicin is a powerful anti-cancer agent, but garlic is always included in Korean cuisine. That's why Koreans basically, garlic intake is very high. If you want to eat more, I'll tell you a tip that my mother-in-law gave me. She steams and crushes garlic. Add honey to it. So I made honey garlic and my father has been eating it by the spoonful since last year. My father I have terminal lung cancer. I found it at the end of April last year, and now it's so. Ginger is also the #1 anti-cancer food announced by FDA. It is recommended as a food, but it is really hard to eat a lot of ginger in everyday food. It's hard. It's just a little bit to prevent the meat from smelling bad. Since I can't give you enough anti-cancer power, I'll give you a tip. It's my mother's method. My mom first peels all the ginger and grates it. Then she grates some lemon. And lemon too. Because you have to use even the outer shell, you have to wash it really cleanly. Please grate the lemon, including the peel, without removing the thread. Add honey to the grated lemon. Put it in a sterilized glass bottle. It's so easy. I put it in a sterilized glass bottle. I put it in a sterilized glass bottle. I put it in a sterilized glass bottle. It's so easy. I put it in a sterilized glass bottle. Put it in a cup, pour hot water, and drink it. Then it will be moist right away. Your body will be boosted to the point where you will sweat. It will raise your body temperature. And if you start the day without any body temperature, next, there is a component called gingerol, which has anti-cancer properties and offers anti-cancer effects. It has anti-inflammatory properties and suppresses all inflammation, so I like to have warm ginger lemon honey tea in the morning. I strongly recommend it to you. Of course, the most effective way to prevent cancer is to drink alcohol without smoking. This is prostate cancer. In the same case, men's drinking and smoking rapidly worsen prostate cancer cells. So, this really needs to be stopped as a basic rule. In the case of my father, the cause of non-small cell lung cancer is the first is smoking. My father started smoking in his early 20s when he was 82 years old. He had a history of smoking for 60 years, so he had a cough last year. There was no lung cancer, but both lungs were already very cancerous. I didn't quit smoking and was receiving chemotherapy. What if I receive it? It just means nothing. So, the first step is to cut off the bad things, so my father you quit smoking, which you have never done before. So your own efforts are very important. Change your eating habits. Exercise is essential. You should start with a light walk for at least 30 minutes to an hour. If you're not doing it, then yes, but now, from what I've seen, cancer patients exercise much harder than the general public. Yes, but it would have been better if you had done that in advance. I also took a walk and rode a bike. I come down from my house where I hardly walk, take a walk, take a car to work, and then I used to have a habit of not getting out of the car and walking when I got home, but now my favorite thing to do is take a walk in the morning. Just walk for dinner. Walk, guys. So our body is made up of hormones. When you are stressed, stress hormones rise. The sympathetic nerves is very advanced, but in order to cure cancer, this nervous system balance is we need a balance of hormones. There are sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves, but sympathetic nerves it's too high. Of course, if the sympathetic nerves are active, we have energy and work hard, but it's too much. Then, this means that the balance of the nerves is broken, so this parasympathetic nerve needs to go up. Once your body is balanced, you can sleep well, your breathing becomes stable, and that level is also high. I don't know how many pharmacists there are who are so prickly because they work hard and are very stressed. When I see a lot of patients, there are many patients who complain a lot and are irritated, so I was always stressed out too. Because of that, the quality of sleep was extremely poor. I always slept like I was asleep, and I couldn't even fall asleep. What I did because it was hard was that I would always listen to YouTube or some music or put on a lecture and listen to it while I was sleeping, so I would wake up in the morning. Even if I wake up, I feel dizzy and can't wake up. But now, I'm relieving these stress factors and my body is as things improve, the parasympathetic nervous system becomes more active, leading to a change in facial expressions. Irritability disappears, and deep sleep is achieved. So when the patients who come to see me now first come, they say, "Why can't that be done?" If you treated me with a very harsh attitude, after 2 or 3 months, when you experienced changes in your body, you would come back to me with a smiling face. Come meet us, so stress management is essential and we can avoid all situations that we resent. If you have an attitude, you should let go of the fact that it's because of that person. I can say this confidently because I did it, but what about my husband? I think I'm angry because of my child, because of that patient, because of that employee. I did it, but now I'm sick and I'm thinking that even if I keep doing it, my body won't be able to do it at all. I made a choice to throw this away because it wasn't getting better. And I was getting more stressed, more angry and frustrated. Who is this person? Because of that, I decided to stop saying it in my thoughts and mouth. I think it's good to decide and choose not to speak that way. I think it's because I eat good food and have good lifestyle habits that my body is gradually getting better. Any stressful attitude or words have gradually decreased, so now I am very happy that you all are having fun and now I am able to convey a bright energy to you. There isn't much to get angry about, so don't look for the cause of your irritation and anger outside. If you let go of your habits and change your way of thinking a little, health will definitely come to you. You can also change your life by doing one thing. I believe that if you start, you can continue to have a healthy old age. I hope you live a healthy life.